Toute la vie de la F1, tous les grands prix sur Facebook, page News F1.
Brilliant start in the single seat. You start Formula 1 in 2000 with Prost Grand Prix before you went to Sauber a year later. What are your memories with Prost Grand Prix, and do you still have a contact with your old boss?
Well, I see Alain from time to time on some events, like in Goodwood last year, and obviously I drive with his son now, with Nico. And first memories from France Grand Prix are the very first tests I had in Manicourt. It's very good memories. Then the season itself, there are not so many nice memories because it was a very difficult season, and especially it was worse than what we expected. So it was a difficult year with a lot of engine problems especially, and yeah, then I moved to Sauber for the second.
In 2001, you still have a contract with Mercedes. At the end of that year, Nyck retired and left his place open. What did they choose, Raikkonen or Nyck?
I don't know. First, it's I think important to understand who takes or took the decision at McLaren. And I think obviously they did a good choice in Kimi. He's a very good driver, he won the championship. Also in that year I did beat Kimi at Sauber, and I was in contact with people at McLaren Mercedes, and when I started to hear the rumors that Kimi might go there, I called up some people and they were like, wow, stay calm, stay cool, if you do the job you're doing, we have a good chance. And
yeah.
Then it didn't happen. But that's Formula 1.
Yeah, and unfortunately, neither Sauber or Jordan or Williams or Lotus will not allow you to get your first victory in Formula 1. Do you consider this as a failure?
Yes, of course, because I went into Formula 1 not to drive around, but I wanted to win races and championships, as I've done in all other series I did before. But Formula 1 is very difficult. It's the pinnacle. You have the best drivers there. So firstly, it's a bit more difficult than in the other series, and secondly, you need to be in the right car to win. And during my F1 season, I always thought, okay, it didn't work this year. I will have time. Next year, I will be lucky. I will be in a good car and I will win. And no, unfortunately, it didn't happen. So this is something, of course, I don't like. Also, that if I think about it, in all the teams I've been with in those years, and if I look at all the teammates I had in those years, nobody ever won a Grand Prix in the same car, only Kubica in Canada, and there I helped him to win, otherwise I would have won. So,
yeah, I remember that.
So it's also, as you said, you have to be in the right car, and unfortunately it didn't happen.
And what are your best memories in Formula 1 and your biggest regrets?
Well, it's not really regrets, but it's very difficult to know in advance what team will be good in the future. Yeah. And I had opportunities to switch teams that later on were very successful, won races and also won championships. But at the time when I had the chance to decide, it was not clear. So it's not really a regret, it's just you didn't know, and was not lucky enough to take the right choice. And I enjoy all the years I did in F1. Probably the most rewarding one was 2007 with BMW, the second year for them, and it was a car that suited me very well, and I think it was one of my best seasons. I hardly did any mistakes, and I think I maximized the car potential nearly all the time, and this was a year that I enjoyed very much.
No longer in Formula 1 since 2011. What is your opinion of the current Formula 1? What do you think about the 2014 Formula 1 cars and the fuel regulation?
Well, firstly, I think it's exciting to watch it because there are some nice driver pairings, like in Ferrari with Alonso and Kimi, or with Hamilton and Rosberg and Mercedes. I think it's cool to watch. It's clear that with so big changes in the regulation, sometimes the differences between the teams are bigger. As we see now, it seems like Mercedes is on top. But the second nice thing sometimes is that other teams start to win, because it can get boring, especially for spectators, if Red Bull and Vettel always win. Also, if they deserve it, it can become boring. Exactly. And that's why they try to change regulations, especially on points all the time. When Michael won, they thought, okay, we have to give the winner more points, and Michael won all the time. Then they said, okay, let's give the winner less points. And now they come up with the idea of double points at the last race, and I don't like that. For me, it's too artificial. It's something for TV shows, but not for a sport, for F1 racing.
Because the fans think that Formula 1 is more boring than ever.
Yes, I think at the moment Formula 1 is not perceived in the best way.
Yeah.
One reason definitely is the sound, which I haven't heard it live, but on TV it doesn't sound nice. And then if you hear the old V10 screaming, it was just something very, very special. And I think the fuel saving, I'm not so sure about it. We also have to do it now here in WEC. I would like to go flat out all the time. But in order to move forward with green technology, I think it's not a bad direction, let's put it that way. On the other side, it doesn't suit F1 as a pinnacle of sport, where you try to go as quick as possible. The cars don't look nice as well, so I think at the moment Formula 1 doesn't have the best stand, but I hope it will change again.
I hope. Yeah, we were talking about Schumacher. He's in the coma since 3 months. Do you have a message for him?
Yes, of course. I hope that he will get better soon, and especially for his family to stay strong. I believe from what one hears, they're there all the time. But I think if you're not in that situation yourself, it's very hard to imagine what they all go through. And I think it's tough for anybody to be in this situation. But if you know Michael a bit, he's one of the persons of all people I know who was in control of things most of the time. He's very clever, and he was always very organized, always thinking about things he was doing, always asking questions. And for a guy like this to be in this position he's in now is a bit difficult and strange to see.
Your new career began in 2011? No, 12?
12, yeah.
On regional racing with Nicolas Prost and Nyck. What were your goals in talking about the BEC?
Well, my first year, 2012, after Formula 1, I wanted to do a few different things. So I did WEC, I did the Porsche Super Cup race, I drove in Australia, and maybe I did something else. I would have liked to stay in F1, but when you have F1, you don't have time for anything else. And as I'd like to drive any cars, I wanted to try a lot of different things. And I did really enjoy WEC, so I knew this was something I wanted to do in the future. I just did a couple of races, and I always want to achieve my best. I always want to win, but I don't get mad. You just have to focus on yourself and believe you do the best with what you have. And I think I did that in the first year, as well as I hope I can do it this season. The first time I drove the car on a rollout was a bit of a shock. Not because the car was slow or anything, but contrary to my beginning in single-seaters, I drove Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 3000. I did a bit of Le Mans. I had a test in this car, a test in that car, so I was quite good in changing cars. But after like 12 years in F1, to jump in a different car, that was quite tough. So the first 5 laps I thought, oh my god, what am I doing here? I hope I will get up to speed. So it was okay then, already by race 1. I think it was not bad, but the beginning was a bit of a shock. But I like the series a lot, because I like to drive a lot, and you have long races with 6 hours, 12 hours in Sebring, or 24 hours in Le Mans, and it's nice.
Yeah, and it's not a hard life like in Formula 1.
No, but that's part of Formula 1, and this is also what I liked. I like the tension about it. I like to fight against others. It can be tiring, but it's also a special thrill that gives. This is definitely a bit more easygoing in WEC, but I think with the manufacturers coming on, I hope the atmosphere can stay nice and not as sometimes mad as in F1, where you always have to watch your back, but still have a good competition.
And what are your goals for this year? Maybe a podium at Le Mans?
Well, while we speak, we haven't done a single lap in our new car, so it's impossible to predict anything. I hope that we will be closer to the factory teams than we were in the last couple of years. This depends a lot on the regulations and how they will help us or the other teams. And if we will be closer, of course, I hope that we have a chance to be in the mix and fight, as I said earlier. I like it if it gets tough and tight in racing, so I hope we will have some good fights.
And you have recently regressed on the Formula Electric Championship.
Mm-hmm.
What are the reasons that push you to the world of power, electric?
Yeah.
And what are your goals?
Well, I watched it since it started, and in the beginning I thought I wouldn't do it because I know from F1 if you do like 20 or more races a season plus testing, it's quite a lot. And I have a family at home with 3 kids, and I enjoy my time with them, and they're only small ones. So this was the biggest part of saying I will not do it, and I enjoy WEC a lot. But then with watching it more and more progressing, the cars seemingly being nice, the idea of going to some of the coolest cities in the world, a series that looks quite interesting for the future. I think it could become quite big. At some point I said, okay, I think I have to do it, and obviously I spoke to my family and decided that if I find a good team, I want to do it in the first year at least, and then see if I like it or not, and then decide how I proceed in WRC or Formula E or combine both together. So that's the reason behind that, and I'm just speaking to some teams at the moment, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and you have so many friends in the Electric Championship. There is Jarno Trulli.
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys. I think it will be a very competitive series, and I didn't win in F1, but I won in all other single-seater championships, so the goal is to win there as well.
What could be your big next challenge? Paris-Dakar, Indy, Indianapolis, NASCAR?
I would like to. I like the idea of rally driving, but I think it's just quite dangerous. Maybe I will do some rally course. Yeah. I have some contacts there. But if I do WEC and Formula E, it will get too much. But I like the idea to try that. The Paris-Dakar, at least at the moment, is not on my agenda. Maybe one day, but at the moment, without any experience in that, I think it would be mad to go there. So I think I have enough challenges with what I'm doing at the moment. I mean, even now with the Lola chassis we've had for many years, there are always new things to discover, there are always things to push and to understand and do better. It's never like you lean back. Then if you lean back, you can go home. You always need to push forward.
And bike speak, maybe?
What?
One day? Bike speak, maybe one day?
That looks more interesting, but I think with what Loeb did there, it will be difficult to be there for a while. Yeah.
Right.
Never know.
Will it be possible to see you one day make a team at Le Mans in amateur category? For example, with your brother Sven, or with your children?
With my children, I don't know. So far, they haven't said that they are that interested. They've said once or twice that they might do some karting, because I told them how I started. But they're still quite young, so I have to wait and see. I would like the idea of driving with my
15 years.
I never know, but I would like the idea of driving with my brother again. He did race as well until a few years ago. We did karting together. He did Formula 3 and various championships. So that would be cool, but he would need to come back into racing. Maybe I need to speak to our team. Need to speak to Alex. Maybe he can give him a go.
And the last question. Can you tell me something in French?
Non, rien. Ok, welcome.
Toute la vie de la F1, tous les grands prix sur Facebook, page News F1.
feel like Senna in 91.